So try and put your head down, get ahead of yourself. It does take some planning and it does take intentionality, like I said, to block some time in the beginning to do that like initial push. But I promise you, once you've done that, you won't regret it. You are listening to the Beyond the Classroom podcast, a podcast for burnt out teachers who know something's gotta give. After teaching for 14 years and feeling completely burned out for way too long, in May of 2022, I made a big decision and left the classroom. I now help burnt out teachers like you take back balance and joy so you can wake up every day loving your life. In this podcast, we'll explore who you are beyond the classroom, whether you're considering leaving or wanting to make changes so you can fall in love with teaching again. Either way, I understand what it's like to be living a life that looks fun and cute on the outside. You know, summer's off, playing all day, off at 2 o'clock every day, but actually feels miserable and draining. I'm your host and coach, Sandy Patterson, and I'm so excited to help you step into your fullest potential and believe in that potential to make an impact on the world, not just survive each day. Are you ready? Let's do this. Well, hello there, and welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Classroom podcast. I am Sandy Patterson, your host and certified life and business coach, and I am so excited you're here today to talk about this topic of showing up. I love this topic, and I get asked about it quite a bit. How do you show up consistently? How do you do that? Because it's hard, right? Showing up for our business and for ourselves consistently over time is a hard skill to learn. And we all know that in business, especially when you are just getting started, that consistency and showing up is key. And when I say consistency, I mean consistency in, of course, how often you show up, wherever it is that you're showing up. And also the consistency in your messaging, what you're sharing, your tone, your energy, all of those things. We need to be very, very consistent. But here's the thing. We don't always feel like showing up, right? We make this beautiful plan, especially at the beginning of the year, or the beginning of the quarter, or even the beginning of the month, beginning of the week even. And we have this plan to do all of these great things. But then when it comes down to it, we have a hard time showing up and doing the thing. And it's not that we don't know how to do the thing. It's that we let other things get in the way, or we're too tired, or we'll do it tomorrow. All of these little things seem to get in our way, and that messes up our consistency. And again, consistency in business is important because if you are a service-based business, people want to know that they are working with someone and purchasing from someone who is going to be there, not someone that is sporadically showing up when they feel like it, right? So today we're going to talk about how to show up when you don't feel like it or when you don't want to, because it is essential to show up in your business consistently, even when you don't feel like it, okay? Now, I love this quote. Check this out. If you only did meaningful work when you felt like it, you would rarely accomplish anything. How true is that quote? Because really, how often do you actually feel like super motivated to do anything? It's very rare. Motivation is kind of a rare feeling. But essentially, in order to make progress, you have to, again, consistently show up. So think about it like this. How do you become a better dancer? You dance, you practice. How do you become a better chef? You cook, you practice, you do the thing, right? How do you become successful? Well, you show up every day, whether you feel like it or not. So let's think about this. Motivation, like I said, is not always present. I find that motivation is actually pretty rare. It's a rare thing to wake up and be totally motivated to do the things that we don't really want to do, right? Like, for example, going to the gym, posting on social media, sending out the email, following up with leads, getting on a sales call, creating content. Those are things that, yeah, maybe sometimes we do feel motivated or excited to do those things, but overall, they're not things that we're like, yes, let's go do it. Let's make it happen. So where does the motivation come from then? Well, motivation comes from results. When you get results and you see things happening and you recognize the progress and things start to work out the way that you wanted them to, you get motivated to do more. But where do the results come from? The results come from action, taking action. It starts with the action, not the motivation. So we have to keep that in mind, that results create the motivation, but we have to show up and take action even without the motivation, okay? Now, many of us come from pretty standard, like 9 to 5 backgrounds. I know a lot of people that listen to this podcast are teachers or have had and I'm using air quotes when I say regular, a regular like 9 to 5 job where we are reporting at a certain time. Our contract says we have to be there at a certain time. We're expected to do a certain thing for a certain amount of time. And it's a very structured and very consistent schedule. So even if we don't want to show up at our contracted time, we still do it because somebody else is telling us that we have to do it. Whereas in business, business owning is basically a free-for-all, right? You are the boss. So you're the one telling you have to do it. So you're not reporting to anybody else except for you. So that makes it a lot easier to say, I'll do it tomorrow. We're not going to, call our boss and be like, I'll show up tomorrow. That wouldn't work. It doesn't work in business either, but it seems a lot easier to do it like that because it's you. Essentially, you are your boss, right? Now, I have so many clients tell me that if someone else is telling you to do something, that they'll do it. But if it's them that they're having to show up for, it's way easier to just let it slide, to put it off, to say, I'll do it tomorrow, yada, yada, yada. Now, if you think of you and your business as BFFs, right? So let's think about this for a minute. Let's say that you make plans with your best friend to go out to dinner. So you and your best friend have these plans to go to dinner and you're going to meet at, let's just say 5:00 and you're going to have drinks and dinner. It's going to be great. So your best friend shows up at the restaurant, but you don't show up, right? Like you're like, I don't know why. You don't show up because you don't feel like it. So your best friend's probably going to reach out and be like, hey, what happened? Why didn't you show up? And you're going to say, oh my gosh, so sorry. Something came up. Let's reschedule for tomorrow. Okay, perfect. So tomorrow rolls around. And you don't show up again. So your best friend's going to get irritated, right? Your best friend's going to be like, what the heck? Why is she not showing up? She may reach out again. She may be like, what happened? You same old thing. Oh, I'll do it. Well, let's reschedule for tomorrow. At this point, your best friend is probably like, maybe like, no, this is not cool. Maybe she'll reschedule for the 3rd night in a row and expect you to show up. And then when you don't again, you're essentially what you're doing there is you are destroying the trust that you have, that your best friend has in you. And if you think about this as your business being your best friend, you're destroying that trust within yourself and within your business. So you essentially have to learn how to show up when you don't feel like it. And I know that I'm probably saying this over and over, but I know that you know how important this is, but I want you to know that you're not alone in this struggle to show up when you don't feel like showing up. And we're going to get to ways to cultivate that show up energy, even when there's 100 other things you would rather be doing, right? Now, I also want to remind you that your impact and your progress will happen in the work you do, not in the work you think about doing. Okay, so let that sink in for a second. Your impact and progress will happen in the work that you do, not in the work that you think about doing. Yes, thinking and learning and planning and all of that stuff is great, but you have to actually take action and do the thing. You will never, ever regret doing the work and showing up. Now, many of you know, I teach barre. I'm a barre instructor and I love barre. And I tell my clients this all the time, especially that 6 a.m. class where these ladies are showing up and it's dark outside, it is cold, it is sometimes raining, and they're still showing up. And I tell them, hey, look, there have been so many times that you've not shown up and you've regretted it. Have you ever showed up and regretted it? And the answer to that question is always no. And the same goes for our business. You will regret over and over and probably kick yourself in the butt and, give yourself a hard time for saying you're going to do something and saying you're going to show up and then not showing up. You will never, ever regret showing up for your business. Okay? Now, I know what you're thinking. We all know that this is important. I get it, right, Sandy? But how do we do this? So let's get into some ways, like I said, to cultivate that motivation or that show up energy, even when you don't feel like it. Because again, we know that most of the time we're not going to feel like it. Okay? Let's just be very, very frank here. Most of the time in your business, you're not going to feel like showing up, but you have to. If you want to make it work, you have to. If you want to get the results, you have to. Same thing with going to the gym. You can't just think about going to get, and then you get magical results. No. You have to show up over time. You have to do the work. You have to start stacking the progress, stacking the celebrations. And that's where the motivation is going to come from. Okay. So here are 5 tips and tricks on how to get yourself moving when you're not motivated and you don't feel like it, girl. Okay. So number 1, we always come back to your why. Now, this sounds super cliche when I just said it out loud, but it is so important. There is a reason why you decided to start a business. There's a reason why you decided to make a commitment to come to the gym and be healthy. There's a reason why you decided to do everything, right? You have these big dreams and these big goals and these big aspirations. And the why is always just deeper than the surface level. So yeah, we start a business because we want to make money and help people, but what's deeper than that? Well, when I own a business and I make money, that gives me the financial freedom to make choices based on what I want to do, not what I feel like I should be doing or what society tells me I should be doing. When I'm able to create a successful, abundant business that's making money consistently, I also have time freedom to spend with my family and to be present with my kids. That is my why. I also know, being through firsthand experience, what an impact I can make for my clients and this work that we do together. And that's why I started this business, essentially. Those are the reasons why. Those are my deeper reasons why. It's not just because I want to have a business and I don't want to be a teacher anymore and I want to make money. No, it's deeper than that. So when I can come back to that deeper why, that really core reason of why I want to make an impact, I want that financial freedom, I want that time and location freedom. Those are the things that are going to get me moving when I don't feel motivated. Okay, so reminding myself of that and having it written somewhere, having somewhere where I can revisit it and come back to the bigger picture, the why, those really deep reasons of why we decide to do the things that we do, right? That's one way that we can get moving or get ourselves moving when we don't feel like it, okay? Number 2 is to get yourself an accountability partner. I talk about this all the time over multiple platforms because I truly believe in the power of accountability and having somebody there to help push you along and to even just talk about what you're doing. We've all heard this stat that you are way more likely to accomplish something if you've told somebody else about it versus just keeping it to yourself. So finding yourself someone that you can express, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to show up for me. This is how I want to show up for my business. I need you to help me and make sure that I do the thing. And a really great accountability partner, I say this all the time, is not someone who you're going to come to and say, oh, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. They're not going to be like, oh my gosh, I totally understand. Me too. We're so busy. There's not enough time. We're so tired. No, your accountability partner is going to be someone who is going to light a fire under you and call you out, or as we say in coaching, call you up, right? And figure out, well, why is it that you didn't do that? And how are we going to work together to make sure that it doesn't happen again? So that next time when you go to show up, you actually show up. That's the purpose of an accountability partner, right? To make sure you show up. And when you don't show up, this is why I believe so deeply in the power of coaching, is figuring out when you don't show up. It's never because you don't know how to do something. You can Google anything. You can figure it out. There's always a deeper reason of why we didn't show up, and figuring out that deeper reason and getting it at the root so we can get that out of the way so you can show up for yourself even when you don't feel like it. Okay? Showing up for you and your business is essential. We've already established that. So number 2 is to get an accountability partner, and not just any accountability partner, somebody that is actually going to hold you accountable and not let you slide when you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it. Okay. And it happens. Okay. I've plenty of times not shown up for myself, but I don't like that feeling of regret and oh, I should have done this. I should have showed up. I should have just, I should have stayed up 5 minutes extra to post that post. I should have just, gone to the gym or whatever it is. I hate that feeling. So I really try to avoid it. And I know that just by doing it is going to result in me building that trust. So find yourself an accountability partner that's going to call you out and is going to help you figure out why you're not doing the things you say you want to do, whether that's through coaching or a mentor or a business friend or an accountability group, whatever it is. Find that person and start holding each other accountable. Okay? Now, number 3, do the hardest thing first. You've heard this before. Make a list, right, of all of the things that you are going to accomplish that day, or all of the ways that you're going to show up. And don't make a list of 1,000 things, because that's just not reasonable. Make a reasonable list of the ways that you want to show up for you and your business or your family, whatever it is. Make a list. The 3 most important things, maybe 4, whatever it is, and do the hardest thing first. Do the one that you look at and you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Do the one that you're going to avoid first. I promise you, by doing the one that you want to avoid first, you are going to build that motivation immediately, especially if you're doing it first thing. If your business time is first thing in the morning or in the morning anytime, I always put the hardest thing, the one thing that I am avoiding, that I don't want to do, that I'm like, ugh, this doesn't sound fun, this doesn't sound good. I always do that first. And what happens is, I end up feeling, once I've accomplished that, I'm like, yes, okay, what's next? And everything else just feels so much easier and so much like a piece of cake, right? So do the hardest thing first. I cannot stress how powerful it is to, number 1, build the trust and get yourself motivated when you don't want to. So the hardest thing first, just plow through it, hit it head on, just do it. And then see how you feel afterwards. It's a really great feeling. And then you'll find that you feel motivated to do the rest of the things too. And it all seems just a little bit easier. Okay. Tip number 4 is do just one thing. Okay. So when you are at that pivotal moment, when you're like, I can go either way here. I could do the thing. Let's just use the gym example. I could go to the gym, or I could sit on the couch and watch 90 Day Fiancé like I really want to do. This is here's the fork in the road. What's going to happen? Do just one thing. And I always say this to myself in the morning. This is my one thing. Just get your feet on the floor. Just put your feet on the floor. When that alarm is going off and I don't want to get up and go to the studio. I don't want to get up and work out. Just put your feet on the floor. Do that one thing. Because once my feet are on the floor, then guess what? I'm ready to stand up. And then after I stand up, I'm like, well, I'm already up, so we might as well put my clothes on. And once my clothes are on, it's like, well, what am I going to do? Just, sit around the house here at 5 a.m. in my workout clothes? Like, no, you just do the one thing, okay? One tiny little thing, just the first thing, the one little thing. Get your feet on the floor and then watch and see what happens. You'll continue to keep moving. You'll continue to be motivated even when you didn't feel like it. Just one thing, the smallest thing, do one little thing. And the last thing I have here to help you get moving when you're not motivated is to put your head down and just get ahead of yourself if possible. Now, teachers are really good at planning and getting ahead of ourselves, okay? Now, let me give you a little example of this. So when I was a teacher, I would always love to be at least 2 weeks ahead of myself as far as planning, right? So when I sit down to plan, I'm not planning for that week. When I sit down to plan on Monday, I'm not planning for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No, I'm planning for 2 weeks ahead of me, okay? So in order to do that though, guess what? I had to put my head down and I had to get ahead of myself. That meant that on one particular Monday, I really had to block a big chunk of time in order to plan out that week and to plan out the following week, okay? But once I did that, I was ahead of myself. And then if something came up or an emergency happened or goodness, I didn't show up when I said I was going to, then I'm not scrambling to stay ahead. Okay, this is just a little example. Now you're going to try to do this in your business too, in any area that you can. So let's talk social media. You get ahead of yourself on social media. So you put your head down and you block a bigger chunk of time, more than you probably would need, and you map out your social media for the month. And then when you sit down 2 weeks from now, you're not planning social media for that day or that week, you're planning it for the following month. And you're a little bit ahead of yourself and you're giving yourself a little bit of grace, a little bit of leeway, a little bit of time in case you get sick or in case, something happens and you have an emergency and you actually can't show up. You're giving yourself a little bit of space. This could be done with emails, right? Map out your emails instead of, writing that email on Saturday night for the one that's supposed to go out on Sunday. You block some extra time at the beginning of the month. You map out and write those emails for the entire month, and then you're ahead of yourself. And then 2 weeks later, you can sit down and get ahead of yourself for the next month, okay? And you can see how this is going to lead to a lot less stress and a lot less scrambling, right? Scrambling at the last minute. I think the scrambling piece, I don't like the scramble. I do like scrambled eggs, but I don't like the last minute scramble in business or any other area of my life. So I really try to just get a little bit ahead of yourself. Now, I know that this isn't for everybody, but it could really help you because then again, when you're like, I'm not motivated, I don't want to show up, you already have stuff there that's ready for you. You have content, you have an email, you have whatever it is, you have whatever you've created ahead of time to give yourself a little bit of leeway and a little bit of grace. Okay, so try and put your head down, get ahead of yourself. It does take some planning and it does take intentionality, like I said, to block some time in the beginning to do that initial push. But I promise you, once you've done that, you will not, again, regret it. You won't regret it. Okay, you guys, so I'm so curious to hear how you are feeling about these ideas to get yourself moving when you don't feel like it. So to do a little recap here, the 5 little tips and tricks I have to help get you going when you don't feel like it is number 1, come back to your deeper why. Remind yourself about why you even started in the first place. Number 2 is to get a solid accountability partner who is going to help you do the things that you say you're going to do. Number 3 is do the hardest thing first. Just do it. Number 4 is do just one thing. Do the first thing. Just get your feet on the floor. And number 5 is put your head down and try to get ahead of yourself. Don't even try. Just get ahead of yourself. Okay? Now, like I said, I'm so curious about which one of these either you are looking forward to trying out or you already do and makes a big difference in your life. Pop on over to Instagram, shoot me a message. I always love to hear from you. My podcast listeners here are literally the best humans ever. So come on over, have a conversation. I can't wait to hear. And I can't wait to hear how these 5 things too impact you and your business and your life. And not that you have to try all of them all at once and tomorrow wake up and just do them all, but pick one and see if you can implement it for a couple weeks or a month. And let's see the difference that it makes in your life and in your business. Now, if you liked this episode, I think you'll also love episode 30. It's all about discipline. And these two episodes go hand in hand. So if you want more of this, little more pep talk, a little more ideas, a little more, you can head back to episode 30, listen to that. I will also link it in the show notes for you, so it's easy for you to find. So until the next episode, go get it. Go do the thing, girl, even if you don't feel like it. Just do it, like Nike says. Okay, you guys, I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Beyond the Classroom. If you know something has to change and you're ready to take the next step to make it happen, whether it's in or out of the classroom, let's talk it through together. Schedule a no-obligation chat with me and we can talk through where you're stuck, how to get you unstuck, and how to keep you moving forward. Schedule your free call today by clicking the link in the show notes. I can't wait to connect with you.